Hey everyone, and welcome to Tactical Inc., your portal to the captivating realm of all things Lorcana. I'm Bradley.
And I'm Alex. Ursula's return is finally here, and the newest cards are already making a splash in the meta. So today, we're going to begin looking at Amber, breaking down our favorites and notable cards from this set that you might see when you're playing the game. We'll be taking a look at the strategies with these cards that could help you with your deck building or give you the advantage against your opponent.
To keep the video a little shorter, we won't be covering all the Amber cards from this set, just the ones that we feel that will impact the game. So please let us know in the comments below if you feel like we've missed something.
Alright, and with that, let's start out by looking at the common rarity Amber cards from this set. We have 4 common cards here that have caught our attention. To start off, we've got Daisy Duck, Musketeer Spy. Daisy is a 4 ink Amber character that's inkable. She has 2 strength and 3 willpower, and 1 lore. She has the ability Infiltration, which says when you play this character, each opponent chooses and discards a card. This is great for Amber as one of the new discard options that it's gained in Ursula's return. Being able to make your opponent discard a card on the play is a lot better than through questing that's just too slow, like with the other Daisy Duck in Emerald. So I do think this card could see a good amount of play.
I love how this card costs 4, meaning if you play on curve, you can play Prince John Greediest to the Maul on turn 3, and then Daisy turn 4 to trigger Prince John. And yeah, this is a card that's more than likely going to see play. Next up is Prince Eric, Seafaring Prince. Prince Eric costs 3 ink and is inkable. He has 3 strength, 3 willpower, and 1 lore. He is a Dreamborn, Hero, and Prince. And he has the effect, Bodyguard. So, the Prince is Amber's version of Hercules' true hero. And I prefer using this 3/3 body rather than something like the Prince Never Gives Up, just because that extra strength can trade out into threats like Rafiki Mystical Fighter or Madam M. Fox. However, I would argue to play another bodyguard in our uncommon section we'll be talking about a little bit later.
Yeah, I've seen some people be down on the Hercules True Hero, and this being the same card basically. But me myself, I do think that the 3/3 body is pretty good for a bodyguard. It's one of the better bodyguard stats to me. The 3 strength is good for trading with other characters, and it also gets around a lot of these low strength banishers like Brawl and Sisu that we're seeing in this set. Next up, we have Ursula Vanessa. And Ursula is a 2 ink Amber character who's inkable. She has 1 strength and 4 willpower and 1 lore, and she has Singer 4, so she can sing songs costing 4 or more for free. We've had 2 other Singer 4s with 2 ink so far, being Sebastian Court Composer and Miss Bianca Rescue Aid Society Agent. Both of those have 2/2 stats, however, compared to Ursula's 1/4. And for a singer that is coming into play this early, you really want them to stay alive rather than be challenging or anything like that. So the 1/4 stat is just much better for her to be getting out and singing songs, and I think she's actually going to see play where neither of them did. You've already seen in some tournaments that have come in the early days of this metagame that she is being used in decks like Steel Song.
And this leads us actually into our next card, because if you combine Ursula Vanessa with it, it can be a little crazy. And that card is Atlantica, Concert Hall. Atlantica is a 1-cost inkable location that has a move cost of 2 and a willpower of 6. It has the effect called Underwater Acoustics, and it says, characters count as having +2 costs to sing songs while here. This gives your characters +2 singer. So in Ursula's case, it would be Singer 6, meaning she can sing A Whole New World, and Grab Your Swords, and more. The issue is, you have to pay 2 to move a character here, and that wastes a lot of resources. And it has 0 passive lore, meaning that without your singers here, it's not going to do anything. And if your opponent removes it before you can get a character there, you're not gaining lore.
Most of the locations that don't grant you passive lore so far in the game haven't had abilities that are strong enough to make much of an impact. This one may be able to. It's one of the ones I see being more likely than others. Really, I guess the play here would be to having one of your 3-cost characters be able to sing one of those big 5-cost songs, because the big songs really tend to be at 5 cost. A Whole New World, Grab Your Swords, Let It Go, and We Don't Talk About Bruno, to name a few. So really you're going to be having one of those 3-cost characters moved here on turn 4, most likely, and they would be singing one of those songs on turn 4 for free. That's what you'd kind of be looking at as the setup. You can see if that maybe will actually be viable. So that's all the commons that really caught our eye. Let's take a look at the uncommons. We have 3 of them here that we think could be decent. Starting off is Donald Duck Musketeer. Donald is a 3-ink amber character that's inkable. He has 2 strength and 3 willpower and 1 lore, and he has bodyguard and the ability Wait for Me, which says when you play this character, chosen character gets +1 lore this turn. He's basically Simba Protective Cub with 1 additional ink cost, and an upside being that you can give one of your characters an additional lore for this turn. We've seen having a surprise lore come into play be really effective with characters like Merlin Goat, and I could just see this being really good on a bodyguard because you get to play that and then protect them with Donald. So he definitely could be a useful card.
Yeah, and he fits perfectly with this Musketeer bodyguard theme that I'm still waiting to break out sometime. However, still not quite there to that top tier, but with cards releasing like this Donald Duck, it could possibly be there one day. Next up is Julieta Madrigal, Excellent Cook. Julieta is a 3-cost inkable amber character with 1 strength, 4 willpower, and 1 lore. She's a Storyborn, Mentor, and Madrigal. Her ability name is called Signature Recipe, and it says, when you play this character, you may move up to 2 damage from chosen character. If you remove damage this way, you may draw a card. So this is a cheaper and weaker version of Rapunzel gifted with healing. However, it coming out a turn earlier is perfect to draw that extra card and get the cards you need faster. And yes, Rapunzel is still great, especially in decks that damage themselves like Beast Wounded and Mulan Injured Soldier, but there's been so many times while playing where you only draw 1 card with her effect anyway, so why not just do it earlier?
And the last uncommon card we want to take a look at is the song Lost in the Woods. Lost in the Woods is a 4-ink amber song, and it is inkable, and it says all opposing characters get -2 strength until the start of your next turn. It's a very interesting card because it can be a total flop very easily and not do anything for you, or it can do exactly what you need. It's really a card that takes some setup. So you could use this to allow your characters to have a free turn where they're protected, most likely from getting banished in a challenge. Or you could use it to set up with Sisu Empowered Sibling, Brawl, Sisu Daring Visitor, or Under the Sea. Most of the time, you're probably going to be using this in Amber Ruby because of that.
And this is definitely a combo card, so if you don't have the right pieces in your deck, it probably will end up just in your ink. Make sure when you're building your deck that you have the right pieces for this card to really shine. Moving on from the uncommons, we get into the rares, and we have 3 cards here. Starting off with Ariel Singing Mermaid. Ariel is a 4-cost amber character that is inkable and has 3 strength and 3 willpower. She has 2 lore, she is a Storyborn, hero, and a princess. And she has the keyword Singer 7. So, besides some of the new Sing Together songs, Ariel can sing every song in Lorcana right now, including Be Prepared. But I think the issue right now is, do you want to play this over Ariel Spectacular Singer, who can also help find a song and is still singing 2 of the strongest songs in the game right now, A Whole New World and Grab Your Swords. Maybe if we get some more crazy 7-cost songs like Be Prepared, we can see this card being played more. But for now, I think I'm running Spectacular Singer over this one.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that a lot of the new Sing Together songs are powerful enough to justify putting her in over Ariel Spectacular Singer. However, one of the new Sing Together songs that this Ariel could sing all on her own is the next card we want to look at. And that is the song Look at This Family. And this is a 7-ink amber song that is inkable, and it has Sing Together 7, so any number of you or your teammates' characters with a total cost of 7 or more can exert to sing the song. And it says to look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You can reveal up to 2 character cards and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. That's a pretty strong draw ability, and it may well be worth exerting multiple characters. But if you could use Ariel singing Mermaid all on her own, that's even better. This is a lot like the song Be Our Guest, but you're getting a lot more, and you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck instead of just 4.
And one deck that may love this card, and we'll see if it actually gets used, is Still Song. Just because they're higher cost cards like Cinderella Stout-Hearted and Stitch Rockstar can be able to sing this pretty easily. Next up we have Ursula, Eric's Bride. Ursula is a 4-cost uninkable character that has 2 strength, 4 willpower, and 2 lore. She is a Floodborn, Villain, Princess, and Sorcerer. She has Shift, discard a song card. And she has the ability called Vanessa's Design. Whenever this character quests, chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a non-character card of your choice. So this new shift mechanic can be a real pain if you're an opposing player. And this one makes Emerald Amber discard combo even more deadlier. And if you don't shift her out, she can just be a little slow, just like Daisy Duck's Secret Agent is slow as well, something with a very identical effect. However, if you can get her out earlier through this shift effect, she can be deadly.
Being a Floodborn, she targets with Bucky Squirrel Squeak Tutor to automatically cause your opponent to discard a card, and then if you go ahead and quest with her where you've shifted her, you could be causing them to discard 2 cards, and that really makes up for where you've had to discard a song to be able to play her. On a similar note, this could also work with Blue Fairy because she's a Floodborn, so you play her along with Blue Fairy, and you'll get the card draw from the card that you've just discarded. And then you're also going to be causing your opponent to discard again. And that rounds out the rare cards that we wanted to look at. Let's move on to the super rares. The first one here is Gaston, Despicable Dealer. Gaston is a 3-ink, uninkable amber character who has 2 strength, 4 willpower, and 1 lore, and he has the ability Dubious Recruitment, which says to exert this character and you pay 2 less ink for the next character that you play this turn. Very similar to Doc, Leader of the 7 Dwarves. However, Gaston lets you pay 2 less ink for the next character, whereas Doc is only discounting you by 1 ink. Basically, on turn 4 with Gaston, you can play a 6-ink character. So you could look at playing a character on turn 4 like Mulan Elite Archer, Ariel Sonic Warrior, or Madame Medusa the Boss, something like that in something like Amber Ruby. However, where he has a decent willpower of 4, he may be able to stay alive for multiple turns, so after turn 4, you could just be discounting even higher cost characters, things as big as something like Maleficent Dragon.
And I think the problem I see right now from him is that he may only be for specific decks. For example, Still Song is usually running Ariel Spectacular Singer in that spot, and discard decks are using Prince John or Ursula Deceiver All. So he may just have a hard time fitting in on the ink curve, but I know there's some decks out there that could use him. Next up, we have Minnie Mouse, Musketeer Champion. Minnie Mouse is a 5-ink cost character that is uninkable and has 1 strength, 5 willpower, and 2 lore. She is a Dreamborn, Hero, and Musketeer with Bodyguard. She also has the ability called Dramatic Entrance. When you play this character, banish chosen opposing character with 5 strength or more. So, number 1 thing, the enchanted art is awesome. Number 2, I love that she's a Musketeer. Really bringing the Musketeer theme back is awesome to me. And number 3 is, sadly as of now, I don't think she's going to have much use. She can only remove around 8% of the characters currently in the game. And if you combine Amethyst, Amber, Emerald, Sapphire, and Steel together, you only get about 10 playable cards that Minnie will target. Some notables are Tamatoa, So Shiny, and Cinderella Stout-Hearted. It's only when you're playing Ruby where you'll see this card start hitting the bigger cards, But then again, is it going to be worth it when 92% of the characters she won't be able to remove? However, you can run her with some things like Queen Commanding Presence, giving your opponent the extra strength so she can banish them, or you can even run her in a bodyguard deck. But she is uninkable, so watch your count when building that deck.
Alright, and next we have Mirabelle Madrigal, Gift to the Family. She is a 5 ink uninkable amber character who has 3 strength and 5 willpower with 2 lore. She has support, and she has the ability Saving the Miracle, which says whenever this character quests, your other Madrigal characters get +1 lore this turn. I'm not sure if this one has enough going for her to really be playable, but maybe it's possible if you've got quite a few Madrigals in your deck. And as more sets are released, we're going to get more Madrigals at some point, and maybe they'll be really good. We've got a few that are already good, like we've talked about Julieta, and then we've got Bruno Madrigal, Undetected Uncle, Dolores Madrigal, Easy Listener, and Isabella Madrigal, Golden Child, just to name a few. Giving them that extra lore in a turn could be something to surprise your opponent and give you the win. I really just don't like that she's uninkable, however. That's pretty much what throws her out for me, but maybe there's some use in there.
In a few weeks, we'll be talking about our starter deck review videos, and we're going over this magical family and how to use it effectively with the budget. So be looking out for that in a few weeks. Now we get to our last 2 cards, and they are the legendary rares of Amber. Starting off with Cinderella Melody Weaver. Cinderella is a 5 ink character that is inkable, has 1 strength, 5 willpower, and 2 lore. She is a Dreamborn, hero, and princess with Singer 9. She has the ability Beautiful Voice. Whenever this character sings a song, your other princess characters get +1 lore this turn. So Singer 9 seems very intriguing, especially with the new Sing Together songs, like Second Star to the Right and Under the Sea. I think she'll go perfect with cards that lower your character's ink, like Lantern and Pluto Friendly Pooch, bringing her out a few turns earlier to sing these powerful cards. However, I think the problem is that she can't sing the first turn she has played. And also, most Sing Together cards are uninkable for the most part, and being very high cost means that they could sit in your hand for a while. So if you're running this card, I think it's all about balancing what makes it work, and it isn't meant for every Amber deck out there. Will it see play is to be seen.
And her ability Beautiful Voice is interesting to me as well. We have 79 princesses in the game so far, and we're definitely going to get more as more sets come out. A lot of those are already usable, like Rapunzel Gifted with Healing, Ariel Spectacular Singer, Belle Strange But Special, and Cinderella Stout-Hearted, just to name a few. I like the idea that this could potentially end up working well with Sapphire in an ink combination that just hasn't ever been able to see play, Amber Sapphire so far. The fact that she could quest and then add on to either Belle Strange But Special's lore or Ariel Treasure Collector to be played with Lucky Dime for just a game-winning move right there. I feel like that has some potential. Don't think it's there yet, but if we get some more control, if we get some more cards to support Amber Sapphire, that very well could be a combo that you see in the future. And the second legendary we have, rounding out our cards for Amber in this set, is Mickey Mouse Musketeer Captain. He is a 7 ink uninkable Amber character who has 3 strength, 6 willpower, and 2 lore. He's a Floodborn hero, musketeer, and captain with Shift 5, and he has bodyguard and support. And he also has the ability Musketeers United, which says when you play this character, if you use Shift to play him, you may draw a card for each bodyguard that you have in play. This is definitely helping out the bodyguard theme a lot to get you some card draw at a much needed time. And he just has a lot going for him with his stats. Having support and shift and decent lore, decent strength and willpower. Especially for a bodyguard, this is one of the best stats that we have at 3/6. I am excited to see a bodyguard deck end up becoming a thing in the future, and if it does, Mickey Mouse will definitely be a key character.
And one problem I see with this card is his effect only is active if you shift. So unless you're shifting this card, you probably shouldn't play it, because paying 7 to get a 3/6 bodyguard with support without an ability is a little much. But luckily there are several Mickey Mouse characters in the game already where you can shift on. And since his ability works with bodyguards, you want to run Amber and Steel, so looking at the notable Mickey Mouse cards would be, for Amber, probably Mickey Mouse, leader of the band, giving a bodyguard character of yours support for the turn. And looking at Steel, you can either run Mickey Mouse Standard Bearer or the Mickey Mouse Musketeer from the first chapter. Bodyguard does keep getting more and more support, but giving this one an effect that only works if you shift out kind of brings it down for me.
Well, that's all for today. What Amber cards from Ursula's Return do you think were the best? Leave us a comment below to let us know.
And be sure to follow us on social media to keep up to date on the latest Tactical Ink news. And also be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
See you next week.